and gentlemen, to split number 2 of the GPL. We are into picks and bans with the players already. We are a little bit behind, but there we go. We're bringing it up on your screen. Had a little bit of a connectivity issue, but we are into Champ Select, which has progressed. It's well under its way, you could say. And my, what do we have in terms of the bans, Chris?
Yeah, so on the side of Phat Ultimate, they have pretty much just stuck to the bans from game number 1. I mean, they did win out that particular one, so they don't really necessarily see the need to change up anything. But BKT here, Rek'Sai Annie was something that they banned on game number 1, changed it up, got the Rengar out of the way.
That's right. Rengar, a fantastic adaptation coming in from BKT, because as we pointed out, Tarzan did a fantastic job with that jungle Rengar, basically expanding the repertoire, you know, or the fame or the reputation of Phat Ultimate. They were already a fantastic team around objectives, and then when they had that assassination potential or power in their roster and in their team play, it just made them look even more fearsome. So,
yeah, I just want to point out in the pick and ban phase, as we've seen so far, if you look at it very, very closely, while BKT took out Rengar, it actually left open Maokai for them that was taken away in game number 1. So I kind of expected them to maybe take something like a Jarvan, but they instead decided to go for the Maokai instead. So that's going to be first pick for them. And then I was, telling Flavors while the system was kind of down that we might possibly see the Narvin come up from BKT. But then again, when you look at the track record from Group Stage 1, Warlock is not necessarily a Gnar player, only played it once.
That's right.
Throughout the 8 weeks of competition, more towards the more mage-alike top laner. So decided to go for Lissandra in this situation. So we'll not see the Narvin combo come out, a very strong combo that was kind of expecting and hoping to see, in fact, from BKT, but did not come out. But we will have a very interesting double AP mix here with the Lissandra and the Cassiopeia as well.
Yeah, and I have to say that it's not that BKT had a bad draft in game number 1, but I'm liking the fact that they're playing, the best of 2 the way it should be.
Yeah.
This composition is a fantastic adaptation from game number 1, as well as looking at Team Ultimate's team composition, because the burst damage that will be coming in and the thick of the team fight really will be Tarzan and Ness in the mix in the mess of it all, right? In the midst of it all, along with the close range V1, and they've picked things that are able to control that chaos, right? You've got Lissandra for fantastic crowd control. You've got Cassiopeia, the last pick, which G4 has played before, to a good amount of success. So they've picked these things that say, okay, we know our strength as a team, as an organization, is to play team fight. Ultimate seem to be catching up on that. Let's push that agenda. How good are they really? So this is going to be a very interesting game, I think, to see whether or not BKT kind of stamps their dominance on the team fight superiority that they are looking to have in the GPL.
Well, we'll see if that's going to occur, and we'll discuss some of the in-game strategies when the client does go live. But before that, we have a little bit of a treat for you, a little bit of a treat. We have some infographics up for you guys that kind of summarizes Group Stage 1. As you can see right here, BKT and Phat Ultimate are, of course, 2 of the teams that you have seen in action already. And coming up later will be Full Lewis and 269. And all these guys make up Group A2 of the Group Stage 2. And of course, following which we do have a Saigon Jokers, Insidious Gaming Legends, Aces Fate, as well as Saigon Fantastic 5 coming through. They will form Group B2. So 8 teams in the equation, 6 Vietnamese teams as well, as you can sort of see the scoreline coming through as well. And BKT looking quite good in the games here, 11.1 KDA, but unfortunately getting stopped right in the tracks by Phat Ultimate so far. We'll see if they will be able to sort of go back into former glory in game number 2.
That's right, this is group stage number 2, so it's a lot more competitive, and these are some of the most contested champions. Jarvan, as we've seen just even from this little snippet of game 1 and game 2 we're about to jump into, either picked or banned. We've seen him picked just twice already. But the interesting thing is his win rate, yes, it's over above 50, but I expect that with the nerfs that hit him in 5.4, yes, he's still very popular.
Yep.
But just as how we saw a little bit of resurgence with Sejuani, when some of the other champions in the jungle were getting hit with nerfs, I think something will soon overtake that. Nevertheless, Lissandra, another big one. Janna, we saw that as well. Gnar. Thresh, quite interesting that he's still on there because, we've seen Thresh been impactful, but a lot of times it's countered quite quickly by Morgana. So Morgana, Janna, big on there as well. But so far, what we've seen from these 2 teams, to contextualize these, it's team fight with a little bit of insurance, right?
Yeah.
Janna is that insurance that you're going to get for sure, and Jarvan as well as Gnar bring that huge amount of team fight presence, as well as Lissandra.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't be surprised because this infographic is as of group stage 1. So
Yeah.
I would not be too surprised if in the upcoming group stage 2, after this 3 weeks of tournament, we see some new champions grow up the ladder as well. Maybe the likes of Rek'Sai and something like that.
Yeah.
Or even the assassins as well. We start to see a lot of teams realizing that this mid laners coming through from the GPL, they're very apt at using assassins. So we did see 2 or even 3 assassins banned coming through from APU in both games. That situation. So we'll see how that's going to change up as the competition goes by. And speaking about the competition itself, let's look at some of our top performers coming into the next part of the GPL. Of course, all the players here have in fact moving on to, so we don't have any eliminated players. So all this here we'll see in the next stage of the competition.
Yeah.
Lloyd is of course one of the guys.
Yeah, so Lloyd and Valen, of course, the bottom lane of BKT doing fantastically for themselves, but this is where the infographic, tells you a story by information that's missing, in the sense that Alpha Ultimate, while they are the strongest, one of the strongest teams in the GPL currently, none of their players are on this scoreboard, and that's interesting because we said, look at the way they play. You know, it's nothing too flashy. It's about the team play. It's about get those objectives as a team. And I'm almost happy or heartened to not see their players on the scoreboard because they're still able to find success, which is a huge testament to their strength as a team.
Yeah, looking at Unfought Ultimate right now, they kind of remind me of Cloud9 in the earlier days, if you think about it. I mean, there was Meteors who were kind of stealing a lot of the spotlight back then.
Yeah.
But, looking at APU right now, they're just such a coordinated team. And I think that's what's most important to see. And whenever you look at them play, when they do get that synergy going, it's just fantastic to watch. And we'll see if that one proves through for them. But right now, they are fighting the uphill battle, like you mentioned, in the team composition itself. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, of course. Yeah, that's going to be BKT going up against APU for the second time. So tonight, Lloyd's going to get zoned out for a bit. Actually, everyone's flashing in onto this one. Lloyd's going to burn his flash as well. So, very strong start coming through from APU. Going to move into the jungle of BKT in this situation. Got a couple of lead wards down as well.
Alright, so if game number 1 didn't quite reveal the aggressive tendencies of Tyr to flash forward, exhaust with his Janna, we definitely just saw it right there where he flashed and exhausted, as well as landed the Winter's Bite onto Lloyd. Traded both his summoners for the 80 carries on the side of BKT, debatable whether or not that will be favorable in terms of any kind of jungle pressure coming out from Tarzan. Valen on his end not picking up the exhaust that is quite common on Janna players, going for the Ignite instead, and it's quite an interesting choice if you ask me. It might be to perhaps control some of the self-healing that Maokai can do, or Nidalee, but I don't know, exhaust just seems to be the safer choice, especially when you're playing that more support style and not quite catchy or lockdown champion that Janna is definitely not. We'll have to see how it plays out though.
Yeah, and you can see the different game plan coming through from Valen as well, as you compare the itemization, the early stage of Valen deciding to go for the Spellfierce Edge, getting a bit more AP up on his end, as compared to Tyr. In his Janna game, he did go for the Nomad's Medallion in his case, so a bit more generation up on his own side. As it looks like it's going to be a lane swap coming through here, so BKT has opted to send both Sivir as well as Janna up in the top lane in this situation. Perhaps recognizing for a fact that Tyr on Braum might not be able to get as much push down onto the turret, given that he is in that melee form, of course. So we'll see how this one pans out as it looks like it's going to be double jungle coming through as well from both the top laners as well as the jungle from both teams, as BKT is going to move into the blue side jungle. I think we might see a little bit of a fight coming through here.
This is risky.
Yeah, Ness as well as Tarzan are actually making the moves right here. They do spot out 7X here. Will he get the spike down? Yes, he does. It looks like that. But Cat is going to go over to APU's way. Here comes the flag and drag onto Ness, though. Valen is there to help out as well. Here comes the flash in. And there we go. It's going to be 7X securing the first blood of the game here. The blue buff did go over to Tarzan, but BKT will get the first blood. Well worth it.
Very, very worth it for BKT, and you have to wonder whether or not Phat Ultimate was just a little bit too greedy with that. You know what? I'll give you the answer. Yes, they were way too greedy for that. And the whole reason why that was a risky move for Phat Ultimate was that the fact that they were playing into the strong side of BKT, right? They had the support freed up from the lane, so that was going to be a 3v2. And that's, yes, I mean, Maokai does get tankier. You can say whatever you want about Maokai not, you know, so easily burst out, but still, it's very early in the game. Had to burn his flash, got 007's flash as well, but still just way too greedy coming out from the Phat Ultimate members right there.
And speaking of greedy, we might see Tarzan pay for his mistake again. Did try to go for the Grom cam in that case, but decided against it when he did spot out 007X around the area. And I just want to quickly point out that, you know, in Group Stage 2, it's the top 8 teams moving forward, and these two teams are the best of Group A and Group B in Group Stage 1. And you can start to see, you know, the level of gameplay leveling up in this case. When we saw Warlock actually teleporting down to the bottom lane, it was at a point where he did not lose out any single minion. You know, the wave just hit the turret and he was able to pick up every single one off that wave. And for both B1 and Terra as well, the moment that they saw actually Tarzan and Ness kind of overcommitting to their own blue buff and they got taken down in the process, they immediately moved towards the jungle of BKT and denied the blue buff from 007X. So I'm just loving the level of competition that we're seeing from Group Stage 2 so far.
Yeah, and if you recall the conversation I was having with you, as well as our viewers, you know, in game number 1, saying these two teams, knowing not only that, you know, they are, the pool has been reduced to 8 teams, you know, the top 50% if you will, they're also the best of the top 50% now. They have that responsibility to set the benchmark and say this is, you know, top of the GPL play. Game number 1 certainly delivered. Game number 2, with the little intricacies that the teams have started to show in their counterplay towards one another, looking good. And right here, Ness without his flash, I think that's a done deal. Oh yeah, man.
That's right. It's just a matter of who the kill does go to. And of course, donating that to Lloyd, it's a good sign to have. As it's going to be a nice and clean, easy gang coming through. And you start to see actually BKT, but they do get that momentum rolling. They know what to do with it. They know how to actually seal the early game advantage for themselves as well. As Tarzan finding himself in a very awkward situation right now. Did try to counter jungle further on 007X. Did not manage to do that. Did not manage to find a gank as well. And speaking about ganks, here we have one in the mid lane. Lucifer taking so much damage from the Twin Fangs from G4 as well. Warlock playing his part so far at a fantastic timing when the bottom lane was shoved up.
Yeah, I really, really like this move from Warlock. As you mentioned, he got the bottom lane shoving. Oh, nice flash coming out from Lucifer.
Whoa! G4 committing onto that one, getting the gaze down, but he does get the kill onto Lucifer. That is the double kill coming through from G4 here. 4 members stacked up in the mid lane for BKT here. Let's see if they can take this turret down. I don't quite think so, but it is a 4-for-0 trade. 2,000 goal lead for BKT at the 6-minute mark.
Fantastic early game moves coming in from BKT, just capitalizing on the small mistakes that Phat Ultimate had. That little bit of greed in the bottom, and then now you can see B1 not pushing out the bottom wave, still holding it in a freeze. Has that considerable CS lead, you know, about 14 minions up on Lloyd. But is it worth it? You know, 4 kills over 2,000 gold lead early on. Is that worth it? It's too much, you think?
Is that worth it?
Yeah, it's a $1 million question, but I think the answer is staring us in the face. It's definitely not, right?
Yeah.
Not breaking that freeze, not having Tarzan as well as Ness play a little bit more safe. Because we saw Tarzan kind of jump into the midst of 3 people. I mean, what was he expecting to get out of that? I mean, BKT, yes, we can say that they did, you know, look like the weaker team in game number 1, but they are still, right, the team that exited group stage number 1 undefeated. You need to give them proper respect.
Yeah, that's right. It does look like APU in the early stages of this game has kind of lost that composure that we saw in game number 1. And let's see if they are going to be able to regain of this one, because it's just such a great start for BKT in this situation. 2-0-0 on G4 right now. He's just going to be even scarier from this point forward with the reworked Cassiopeia that we saw kicked in a couple of patches ago. You know, she's just going to stack up AP passively. So that's going to be a lot of snaking around that APU has to deal with in this case.
Ridiculous amounts of AP in the late game. I mean, the new Cassiopeia basically gets a free Rabidons, right, with her passive once you get into those late stages of the game. And already starting off very, very well for himself. 2-0-0. G4, I think, unhappy at the way the bans have been leveled at him. And game number 1, maybe a little bit shaken, and game number 2 is just outright, you know, I'm not gonna let you do this to me again. Never again.
It's like, well, you can ban out all my assassins, but I bet you never saw this snake slithering your way.
That's right.
Again, BKT gonna contest for the blue buff, but there's gonna be the wolf spirit smoking them out in this case. So Tarzan getting forced back a little bit though. Warlock in, right here as well. So that's gonna be the smite securing that for W7X. And even though he's been doing so much in terms of roaming, he is kind of down in terms of experience and level as well. So you gotta watch out for that, because as much as possible as a Java, you want to hit the level 6 stage, because that capitalism gets so much in the team fight.
I have to wonder though, how much of Tarzan's choice of Nidalee is something that the team kind of gave him the green light to go for, in the sense that with the Rengar kind of might have been a hint at this, but it does feel that in this new split, Tarzan, especially with the Rengar pick, it does seem to signal, especially now with the Nidalee pick, that he might be trying a different style, and the team might be trying to work around that. We said, you know, it worked in game number 1 fantastically. They expanded kind of their team play, their repertoire, if you will, from just a pure, you know, objective-focused team to one that has assassination now. With the Nidalee, it's got that assassination potential as well if you get her fed right, and it's got that poke in there as well, but it's clearly not Tarzan's style, because we've seen in the past, he's heavily favored things like Sejuani. Jarvan is a go-to, but Sejuani really sticks out to you because it's kind of the opposite playstyle of Nidalee, right? It's a tanky, get in your face, stay in your face.
Team fighting jungle.
Exactly,
champion.
it's a team fighting champion, right? So this is something that Phat Ultimate might be a little bit uncomfortable on. So work well with them with Rengar in game number 1. Game number 2, perhaps they might be stretching themselves a little too far.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes, but for me personally, I kind of have this love-hate relationship with the Nidalee in the jungle. Because one thing is that, yes, you do get ridiculous clear speed and ridiculous mobility as a jungler.
Yeah.
But in that case, you kind of forfeit the utility side of junglers that you know, a lot of junglers put in place. Like Jarvan does get the knockup and the terrain control with Cataclysm. Or even Rek'Sai as well, you know, you're having the tunnels in means that you can sort of gank in very surprising areas as well. But for Nidalee, it's very straightforward. You need to land the spear in order for you to do damage onto the laners, and even that, we haven't seen that come out from Tarzan, just because he's just been always playing the catch-up game in this situation.
Very true, and we can see the effects of that on the lanes. You know, W7X, to be fair, has been in the jungle a fair amount of time, but you can see lower CS score, but having a bit more of an impact in the lanes. Oh, catching Tarzan out right there.
Oh wow, so much damage with the Cataclysm as well. So gonna force the flash from Tarzan in that case. As once again, you know, Tarzan just not making an impact whatsoever in the lanes here.
Yeah, mid lane really has been kind of the epicenter of the impact of 007's jungling style, right? 1-0-3. He's been part of every single kill that BKT has so far, and in the mid lane, he's helped to create that 40 CS lead, right? That was 007X pressure on the blue side, then creating that dive in between the two towers. That was all 007X. And right now, with the amount of pressure they have mid, it should be a very easy dragon take for BKT.
Yeah, that's right. Dragon's gonna come here.
Yes, we have the hero spear.
Yeah, they do know about this dragon attempt right here. They're gonna do anything about it. It is gonna be the flight coming down, but Tarzan gonna get taken down. Lloyd picks up the kill, and on the back end, Lucifer's gonna go down as well. Damage reduction from Ness is not gonna come into effect here, and BKT speed fire rotation into the mid lane. Not too sure what they want to achieve out of this one, but they might just want to shove this down into the mid lane as quickly as possible. They do have a lot of pushing power as well coming through with the Eye of the Storm from Janna granting extra 80, and Sivir, of course, very notorious for pushing power.
Phat Ultimate just way too trigger happy right there. The spear didn't even land, and Tarzan decides to jump in. I mean, with the amount of control we said that Lissandra, Jarvan, and even Cassiopeia had, I mean, that was foolhardy, right? That was you know, that was just plain foolishness actually. Gets the Wolf consolation prize, but definitely seems that Tarzan is not comfortable on this champion, and neither is his team. I mean, you could see what Lucifer was thinking. All right, Tarzan, you jump in and I'm going to ult you. I mean, on paper it sounds good, but we're talking about an underfed Nidalee and an overfed Cassiopeia and now an overfed Sivir. I mean, the way these kills have been falling, one 1 to Jarvan, pretty good. 2 to Cassiopeia, fantastic. Picks up the Rabadons at 13 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And then 3 kills over the Sivir. This is going to be brutal for Phat Ultimate.
And I don't know, I just feel like, because they might be feeling quite disheartened right now because it was pretty much sloppy shot calling coming through from Phat Ultimate in that case when they give up that 2 kills and conceded over the Dragon. Well, sure, you could argue that it could rotate back to mid lane to stop that second tier mid lane push, but if not, at least try to take down the first tier bottom. But we kind of saw a split in decision.
Yeah.
We saw B1 moving towards that bottom lane, and the rest of the team, they were like, okay, do I want to recall or do I want to stay in the jungle? They were very split up on what they wanted to do in that situation, so did not maximize the time that was given to them. And BKT just cashed in big time. 5,000 goal lead, close to 5,000 goal lead at the 14-minute mark. Right. And of course, like you mentioned, the growing serpent monster in the mid lane.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
It is ridiculous how strong this Cassiopeia is going to be. As the game goes on, Cassiopeia, of course, naturally, even without 2 kills and 2 assists under her belt, just becomes a monster of her own. With this scoreline, she's just going to be ridiculous. But to contextualize what you said, you know, about the... Or rather extra, oh my goodness, goodbye Lucifer. Bye-bye, buddy.
Oh, gonna get locked in by the Cataclysm. Where will the kill go to? It's gonna be G4, of course.
Right, so back to your point on the Dragon and how Phat Ultimate didn't do any, you know, of their options.
Hold on there. Might have a round 2 right here. Well, here we go. Terra's gonna use the ultimate, and double 7X still slipped past
What?
Yeah, but B1's gonna be there to try to return some damage. Minions doing the job for Terra in that case, and I thought that was gonna be Terra going down, but APU finally showing some signs of life here, but it was a support player that made the play at that stage.
Nicely done by Tier 2 to delay long enough for the rest of his team to come, and after that spate of bloody events, I can finally get back to my point, which was that, oh no, don't, no, I really want to talk about this!
Well, we do have some more action. Tarzan's gonna go down.
Oh
man. Picks up that one.
No, why would you jump to him?
Why would you jump? No! G4 picks up yet another kill. Queen Fang sinks down onto Braum.
Alright, to be fair, he didn't really have anywhere to go. They were
true.
collapsing on the brush. Going out with a blaze! Oh man, oh man.
Alright, my good sir, what's the point?
Right, yes, before any more people die! Quickly, quickly! So my point, right, to extrapolate from what you said about how the Dragon fight and Phat Ultimate didn't do any of those, it's a sign of any team, you know, especially in the professional scene, where they don't do even the worst option, which would have been to take, you know, the tier 1 in bottom.
Yep.
They didn't even take the worst option available to them. They did nothing that really shows that their head, you know, isn't in the game. You know, kind of the bad option would have been to go and defend your tier 2. The best option would have been just not to touch the Dragon, right? So they didn't do the best option, they didn't do the bad option, and they didn't do the worst option either, right? So
they just stood there.
They did nothing, right? So they had the worst of all possible outcomes, where they got literally nothing out of a big win for BKT. And that's something that I think Phat Ultimate, you know, I'm giving them a lot of benefit of doubt just because this is so polar, you know, a polar opposite of the way they usually play. They'll look at this game and go, we're not invincible, you know, and lucky for them, this is happening early on in the split.
Yep.
Because no team is invincible, guys.
No team is invincible, and it's going to be Tarzan as well as Terra moving up into the top lane. Unfortunately, they are going to get spotted out by that Trinket Ward, of course, finally realizing that that is the position. So, kind of buying a fair bit of time for Warlock up in the top lane, as Lloyd as well as Valen going to rotate out here. And I just want to point out as well is that I have to give a lot of due credit to W1D1 and G4 in that situation, because you know, they banned out so many mid laners away from G4, like we previously mentioned. So this Cassiopeia pick is kind of a wild card for G4 in that situation. So W1D1 was there to sort of nurture it as it came along and just make sure that, you know, he could get to a point where it's pretty much unstoppable now. 4-0-2. I think he's building towards a Rylai's. I'm not too sure about that, but that should be the case here. And Rabadon Staff Cap at such an early point in the game means that he's just gonna burst anyone down if they don't build any sort of magic resistance whatsoever.
It's pretty silly because if you look at the way that Phat Ultimate built their composition as well, you know, Maokai has to go into the team fights to be effective. But again, the Cassiopeia pick all the way down, the very last pick of the whole champion select process, just fantastic, right? If the Maokai jumps in, if the Nidalee jumps in, that's where you get kind of your burst damage of your assassination. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
2 Twin Fangs, just a bit of poison, and Tarzan is forced to flash. And ooh, looks like they've caught Ness, locking him down with the Frozen Tomb, but Ness is...
Oh, and it's
3 ultimates though, 3 ultimates. This might be a good chance for the rest of the members of
Oh.
Alpha Ultimate to do something, make something of it, but fantastic by Valen to say that is not going to happen. Just disengages all the ultimates used, and you know what? BKT, team fighting. Of course they're very far ahead, so it's easy for them, but still, it looks clean.
Yeah, and in fact, you know, that was contributed partly to Lloyd and Valen in that situation. Because we did see the on the hunt being fought by Lloyd, just to give Valen extra movement speed
exactly.
to pop the Monsoon and keep 007X in that situation. So that's going to be 2 Dragons going over to BKT, a 6,000 goal lead. Still quite a substantial amount. They haven't been able to expand anything past that though. So if Unfun Ultimate somehow can regain control by, you know, just slowly playing this one out, they could possibly try to contact for some more fights against BKT. I would say in the next 10 minutes or so, but right now they really have to turn it out and turn it out well.
Yeah, I would think that if there's any chance really of Unfun Ultimate coming back, they have to be able to survive the next 10 minutes, and then it'll just come down to maybe a series of, you know, misplays around a big objective like Baron perhaps. But then again, BKT, with the way they've picked it, it's almost as if they're saying, Unfun Ultimate, you're a great team around objectives. We're going to pick a team composition that has just massive control around set pieces. I mean, the amount of zone control that Lissandra, Jarvan, and Cassiopeia provide, and then just the massive mobility that Sivir will give all of these on top of Janna, it's honestly very, very tough, even if, you know, the kills were balanced for Unfun Ultimate to get proper positioning, ideal positioning around objectives. So I felt that BKT really did a good job with their draft.
Yeah, it has been an upskill battle to start with. So let's see if Unfun Ultimate can do anything about this. G4's going to rotate back into the mid lane to defend that third, of course. And truth be told, even though, you know, BKT has played so well in this game, like we mentioned, you know, this is group stage 2, where only the best will move forward from this 3 weeks of competition. If APU,
oh no!
if
no!
APU, I was about to say they can weather the storm, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Oh man!
And that's going to be a double kill.
And Ness is like, hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah, but Ness is going to jump back to the fight. Does get the kill onto Warlock though, but that's because G4 is not yet in the mix, so they will trade a 3-for-1 right here. 3 kills did all go over to the AD carry for BKT, so they will be happy off of that one. We'll see what they decide to do though.
Yeah,
I think they're rotating towards the Baron, but yeah.
This is interesting. They should send at least just one member back to deal with the push coming out on the side of B1. I mean, this is actually a very interesting turn of events. I mean, if anything, it's a bit of fresh air for Unfun Ultimate, a bit of breathing room.
Yeah.
Lissandra.
Oh, there we go. Let's remember.
Let's
remember. 2 of them as well, so he's going to try to fight this one out. He's dealing a lot of damage to Warlock. Gets the heal done as well. Will he be able to do it? Oh no, the shield from Valen. Oh my goodness. Warlock barely surviving that fight there.
You know, if B1 had even gotten 1 crit, I didn't. Oh, man.
Snipes.
You know, I said,
no one saw that coming.
If they make a massive throw at something like Baron, because if you think about it, this was pretty much a reversal in terms of the worst option not being even seized upon by BKT, right? They got a bunch of kills, and the worst option for them would have just been to all take either Baron or all go defend their inhibitor. They didn't do either of those. Yes, they got the kill, but their inhibitor is exposed now, and they didn't get Baron either. So what did they get? They got kills, not even the tier 2 tower, which by the way, they dove past, and then didn't even bother to go and get. So yes, let's not take away from BKT's lead. They're still way ahead in terms of 5,000, but it's things like these that more so than close the goal lead, give the opposing team that aha moment, right, where you can seize upon in terms of a little bit of morale and say, we're not invincible, neither are they.
Yeah, that's right. So I think BKT definitely making a mistake of this one. I was not a big fan of that Baron call as well. Unfun Ultimate definitely given some time to look around with, but I think Lucifer found himself in a very, very bad position, and he is buying some time here, gonna try to draw Warlock and Valen in as long as possible, but he's definitely gonna go down. Valen's the one picking up the kill, and it's a mid lane as well. G4 coming in, that's the double kill coming through, getting Lloyd down in the process, Tarzan joining the fight as well. But for what? It is a quadra kill for the mid laner of BKT and the ace as well. Oh my goodness, 9-0 and 3 is G4 right now. As
That's disgusting, man.
that is just sick.
Ah, that is sick. 9-0 and 3. Oh my goodness.
Now it's time to do Baron.
Now definitely is the right call to do Baron. Quadra kill coming up for G4. You know, he's got to feel great for him, and I'm happy for him. You know, I'm happy for any player where they get 3 bans leveled at them and they're like, you know what? That's not gonna stop me. You're not gonna hold me down.
Maybe it was the plan right from the start. It's like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna
play a mediocre Ezreal.
yeah.
Oh man.
Gotta understand, you know, it's the same situation for him as it is for Tarzan. You know, he's trying out new jungle champions. Thinking for G4, he's like, you know, let's kind of poke around things a little bit. And his Ezreal game was okay-ish, but this game on Casper is just
crushing it.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I have to say Tarzan looks very, very uncomfortable on this Nidalee. I mean, there's been a number of times where he lands the spear, and I think a more disciplined, a more mature Nidalee player would realize that, you know, yeah, you landed the spear and you want to get some damage down, but jumping in means you're dead. He's done that more than twice, I think even, you know, 3 times, and as a professional player, I think there's a point where you just go, alright, you know, I'm done testing, or there's only so much doubt you can put into a caster's mind about testing things. Oh dear.
Well, it's going to come in onto this one. Lloyd gets 2 kills, both cameras getting something out of return of this one. Fast still taking a lot of damage in this mixer. The double kill goes over to G4. A 3-for-0 exchange coming through from BKT. They are going to march forward down into the mid lane here with the Baron buff up as well. So I think they should be able to take out this inhibitor turret in this case. I don't think Lucifer will be able to do anything out of this, especially with G4 chasing him down as well. But W7X almost going down in that situation. And did see G4 pick up the kill on Lucifer as well. Ness is the only one left alive, and he's interested in the top lane turret. At least getting something out of that.
Guys, the worst option. I got it this time.
I got the ticket. Come on, everyone.
All right, that was a bit
goal, everyone.
That was a bit mean of me. That was a little bit mean of us, but nevertheless, you know, we have to say BKT just looking so good this game, and I really love the silver pick as well. I mean, I think it's fair to say that yes, they're so far ahead that they can just keep activating the aggression, but it's BKT taking a look in the mirror and saying, man, game 1 we did not look good against Phat Ultimate. What has made us into a team that has shot all the way up to #1 on the table, and it's their team fight, and Sivir facilitates that so well.
Yeah, I don't know what happened during the break, but whatever they did, I need to know from them, because you know I need to do whatever they do on a very bad day if it ever occurs.
Oh yeah, man, I agree with you. This changed by BKT.
In game 1 was such a systematic takedown from Phat Ultimate. This game, BKT is just destroying Phat Ultimate.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Game #1 definitely you can't deny systematic takedowns. Yeah. This, however, 24 to 3.
It's a massacre, man.
It's a bloodbath. Here we go. Oh, I wonder, is he gonna die?
Yes, he is gonna die, my friend. And Ness is just trying to buy more time for the rest of the team. And it looks like this time they are not that interested, because G4 did get taken down by B1, and on the back end, Ness dealing a lot of damage onto Warlock, but that is going to keep him alive for now. But Ness is eventually going to go down. Lloyd picks that one up, slowly and steadily rising up in the KDA numbers as well. 9-1 and 9 is a Lloyd at this stage.
Yeah. I mean, as you saw in the intro graphic, both him and Valen had a fantastic job in split #1, getting themselves on the scoreboard. And what is that? Is that the sword of occult you have pointed out to me, my dear friend? It is indeed Lloyd playing with I wouldn't even say way too much confidence, just a huge amount of confidence, given how the scoreline is almost, 7 times that of the kills that Phat Ultimate has. I mean, game #1, at the end of the game, it was double. And I think systematic is a nice way of putting it. I thought that actually was a bit of a stomp, but this
this is a stomp.
Massacre stomp.
Okay, I wouldn't really call it a stomp.
Raffle stomp. You know, it's bloody. That's what it is. Certainly it's bloody. Ooh, second wolf Tarzan. You know, if he goes out to lunch with BKT's W7X, would be like, yeah, you may have taken the game, but I took wolf twice from you, sucker. Consolation prize, right?
And then, if that really happens, if I'm W7X, like, oh, yeah.
Ooh,
you took the wolf, you know. I took the game, so why not?
I took your Nexus, bro. Oh, G4. Oh, man.
G4.
Ooh, nice logs coming up from here.
Yep.
If they manage to stun lock him, that's probably how he went down. I mean, there is G4 scoreline a little bit marred as well with that 1 kill, and we just go into replay mode.
Yeah, like
cinematic mode. Get ready for more blood.
I think our camera guys is preparing for it.
You know, for what it's
he
worth.
Can foresee the future.
Oh man, are they just gonna activate several? For what it's worth, the number of towers. I mean, after this is taken down, it's a bit more of a gap. 7 to 5, but for 4 kills compared to 26, Phat Ultimate, has 5 towers. I mean, I'm looking for the small wins for them here. Oh man, here we go. Oh dear.
So on the back end. Straight down to B1, locking him down with the Catalysm, forcing the flash as well. But Lucifer is going to be the victim of this ore as Ness is trying to draw them in. They are fighting in turret range, though. BKT cannot overcommit onto this one. They did get 2 kills off of that, and I think they will be happy with the result. And they will also take out the bottom lane inhibitor in the case as well. It is still a 3v5 in this situation. With both damage dealers gone, I'm not too sure how much Phat Ultimate is going to be able to do off of this one. It is still struggling, a big struggle for Ness to stay alive, but he is eventually going to go down in this case here. Just moving towards the
scream of victory.
Yeah, and it is going to be BKT tying things up in a 1-2-1 series in this best of 2, and man, what a best of 2 he has been.
What a way to open group stage number 2 of the GPL. We saw a very systematic, a very, very solid game from Phat Ultimate. Let's not take that away from them. But game number 2, it seemed like they had just upset BKT a little too much, pushed the wrong buttons, especially G4. He's like, stop it.
Yeah,
Stop banning
my champions. And yeah, he just performed great.